Captured German Luftwaffe aircrew, taken prisoner during the Battle of Britain, are marched under British military guard through Liverpool Street Station in London on the 8th of October, 1940. The men are being transported to an internment camp after being shot down during aerial combat. A British guard stands watch at a prisoner of war camp in England in November 1939, shortly after the outbreak of World War II. The camp held captured enemy personnel under tight security. Prisoners of war line up for a body search at a camp near Mühlberg, Germany, around 1942, as seen on this vintage postcard from World War II. The image reflects the strict procedures followed in German POW camps during the conflict. British Army officers and Commonwealth troops, including Indian and Sikh soldiers, stand behind the barbed wire fence of Oflag 79 prison camp, shortly after their liberation by the U.S. Ninth Army on April 12, 1945, near Braunschweig, Germany. The moment captures a mixture of relief and exhaustion at the end of their captivity. Japanese prisoners of war from the Imperial Japanese Army's 32nd Army stand behind a barbed wire fence under American guard at a stockade camp in Okuku, Okinawa, on June 27, 1945. Captured during the brutal Battle of Okinawa, these men were part of one of the bloodiest confrontations of the Pacific War. Former prisoners of Stanley Internment Camp salute the Union Jack in August 1945, shortly after liberation from 42 months of Japanese captivity during World War II. Their return to freedom marked the end of years of hardship, malnutrition, and uncertainty under occupation in Hong Kong. Russian prisoners of war march under German guard during the invasion of the Soviet Union in the early 1940s. Captured in vast numbers during Operation Barbarossa, many Soviet POWs faced brutal conditions, forced marches, and overcrowded camps with little food or medical care. Nurses provide medical care to 2 Italian prisoners of war at Camp Attenbury Internment Camp in Indiana, United States, on June 12, 1943. The camp housed Axis POWs during World War II, where medical treatment and basic care were offered, despite wartime conditions. A German officer appears dejected in a prisoner of war camp in Normandy, 1944, during the final stages of World War II. The photo captures the somber mood of captured soldiers held under Allied control after the Normandy invasion. Starving British prisoners of war are shown shortly after their liberation from a Nazi camp during World War II. The image reveals the harsh conditions and severe malnutrition endured by POWs under Nazi captivity. 4 British Red Cross nurses carry gift parcels from the USA and other countries to distribute to patients in hospitals. March 6, 1941. The parcels symbolize international support and care during the hardships of World War II. A British nursing sister of Queen Alexandra's Imperial Military Nursing Service stands outside a field hospital in France, 1944. The portrait captures her dedication and service during World War II. Queen Elizabeth met with Red Cross nurses in 1941, while King George VI looked on, highlighting the royal support for wartime medical efforts. Nurses served drinks to patients at Preston Hall, a British Legion hospital for wounded and sick servicemen in Aylesford, Kent, England, during World War II, June 1941. The hospital provided care and rehabilitation for soldiers recovering from injuries sustained in combat. A smiling soldier sits inside a British Army tank around 1941. The image captures a moment of camaraderie and morale amid the challenges of World War II. Despite the hardships of war, soldiers found moments of hope and resilience. Charles de Gaulle and Georges Bidault stand together in Paris, France, on August 26, 1944. This moment came shortly after the liberation of Paris during World War II, symbolizing the restoration of French sovereignty and leadership. Their presence marked a hopeful turning point in the war and in France's future. On October 10, 1939, William Morris, Lord Nuffield, on his 62nd birthday, donated a £100,000 check to a nurses' collecting box for the Red Cross Fund at Mansion House, London. This generous contribution supported the humanitarian efforts during World War II. In August 1944, during the liberation of Paris, Red Cross nurses and a van gathered at Place d'Enfert-Rochereau, providing crucial medical support amid the final stages of World War II in France. In 1941, recovered soldiers bid farewell to a nurse of the German Red Cross at a field hospital, Feldlazaret des DRK, in Oltarksew, Poland, during World War II. The scene reflects the care and gratitude amid the harsh realities of the Eastern Front. Poles captured by German forces during the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising are marched into captivity, likely facing deportation to concentration and death camps between August and October 1944. The image captures the tragic fate of many amid the brutal suppression of the uprising. 4 Italian anti-fascist women patriots relax and check their weapons near Castelluccio while awaiting orders from the Allies during World War II. Their bravery reflects the vital role of resistance fighters in the fight against fascism. A group of Italian resistance fighters who helped South African troops in Pistoia to locate German snipers relax and check their weapons as they wait for orders. These courageous fighters risked their lives daily to protect their communities and support the liberation efforts. A photograph from the Stroop Report during the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising shows a scene on Nowa Lipai Street, looking east near the intersection with Smocha Street, circa 1943. On the right stands Hasia Gilgold Spiro, captured amid the intense and tragic resistance against Nazi forces. French street fighters, likely members of the resistance, take cover beside a building during the fierce battles for the liberation of Paris in 1944. The city had been under German occupation from 1940 until its liberation that year. British soldiers, wearing carnations in their caps, celebrate in London as they prepare to depart for France after Britain declared war on Germany. The flowers symbolize hope and solidarity amid the looming conflict. British Vickers Medium, Mark I and Mark II tanks of the Royal Armoured Corps drive across rugged terrain during trials at Bovington Camp in Dorset on December 8, 1939. The tests aimed to assess mobility and performance ahead of combat deployment. Pilots of No. 111 Squadron, Royal Air Force Fighter Command, make a practice scramble to board their Hawker Hurricane Mk-1 fighter aircraft at RAF Northolt in London on 26 August 1939. These early Hurricanes are fitted with fabric-covered wings and two-blade wooden propellers, characteristic of pre-war RAF fighters. Royal Navy sailors, fully equipped in Brodie steel helmets, anti-flash gear, gloves, and gas masks, operate turret-mounted Vickers 2-pounder QF Mark II naval anti-aircraft guns during training aboard a ship at the Gunnery Training School in Portsmouth, England, on 17 December 1939. The scene reflects early wartime preparations against aerial threats at sea. On 1940, WAAF Women's Auxiliary Air Force Instrument Repairers examine and work on aerial cameras. On the left is an F-24 model, capable of capturing 5 by 5-inch exposures manually or automatically. Beside it are two G-28 gun cameras, which produce 2.5 by 2.5-inch negatives from roll film and were typically used in aircraft for combat documentation. Civilians in a bomb-damaged London neighborhood line up at a mobile canteen operated by the American YMCA's Allied Relief Fund on 10 October 1940. The canteen served warm food and drink to residents enduring the ongoing German Luftwaffe Blitz. Railway lines hang precariously in mid-air after German air raids struck the London area during the Blitz, 8 September 1940. The intense bombing campaign caused widespread destruction to Britain's infrastructure. Nazi leader Adolf Hitler poses in front of the Eiffel Tower during his visit to Paris in June 1940, just a day after France's surrender and the signing of the Second Armistice at Compiègne. The moment was staged to symbolize Nazi dominance over Western Europe. Members of the horse-mounted North Riding Local Defense Volunteers. LDV, later known as the Home Guard, are inspected by their officer William Thompson, a former sheriff of York, on 8 August 1940 near Strensall, Yorkshire. Many of these volunteers were veterans of World War I, now prepared once again to defend their homeland. A group of women contribute to the war effort by weaving camouflage nets in southern England, November 1940. A sign nearby reads, "Volunteers wanted to camouflage nets for the Army," calling on more to join their vital home front work. A machine gunner from the 2nd 31st Battalion of the Australian Army's 2nd AIF operates a belt-fed, water-cooled .303 Vickers machine gun during training at Tidworth, Wiltshire, England, on 25 June 1940. This exercise helped prepare Commonwealth troops for the battles ahead in World War II. Members of the Royal Militia of the Island of Jersey, a British Army unit, received training from a sergeant on operating a Lewis gun at their camp on Jersey in the Channel Islands, August 1940, during World War II. This instruction was part of the island's defense preparations amid the conflict. The North African campaign during World War II in 1940 to 1941 saw the Italian offensive as part of the broader conflict between Axis and Allied forces. This campaign involved fierce desert battles across Libya and Egypt, shaping the course of the war in the region. Female workers at a stirrup pump factory in the UK, June 1941, contributing to the World War II war effort. The Ministry of Information highlighted their vital role in producing equipment used for firefighting during air raids. A sergeant of the 9th Slough Battalion, Buckinghamshire Home Guard, inspects women's Home Guard auxiliaries during rifle drill on 4 November 1941 at Slough, Berkshire, England. The women's involvement was crucial to Britain's defense efforts during World War II. A group of Women's Auxiliary Air Force WAAF officer trainees from the Officer Corps Training Unit receive gas mask training during an air raid precaution class on the 10th of November 1941 at Rutland Hall, Loughborough, Leicestershire, England. This training prepared them for potential chemical attacks during World War II. HMS Legion, an L-class destroyer of the Royal Navy, moves alongside the damaged and listing aircraft carrier HMS Ark Royal to rescue survivors after Ark Royal was torpedoed by the German U-boat U-81 on the 13th of November 1941 near Gibraltar. The attack occurred while Ark Royal was on convoy duty in the Mediterranean as part of Force H. Military personnel are silhouetted on landing craft during training exercises off the coast of Slapton Sands, Devon, England, in December 1943. These exercises were part of the preparations for the D-Day landings during World War II. Men of the Royal Marines sit inside a landing craft in 1943, preparing to take part in invasion training exercises ahead of World War II operations. These rigorous drills were crucial for the success of the upcoming amphibious assaults. African American medical orderlies from the U.S. First Army transfer wounded soldiers on stretchers from a landing craft tank at Portland Harbour, Dorset, England, on June 9, 1944. This was part of the medical efforts following Operation Overlord, the D-Day invasion of German-occupied France. Corporal Roy C. Moore of Lubbock, Texas, a medic from an engineer combat battalion, kneels beside a German soldier wounded in the chest, lying in a grain field on July 30, 1944. This moment captures the harsh realities of battlefield medical care during World War II. United States Navy doctors, medic corpsmen, and Chaplain Lieutenant John H. Galbraith, Right Center, provide aid to wounded Marines from the 4th and 5th Marine Divisions at a first aid station on the landing beach during the Battle of Iwo Jima on February 20, 1945, on the island of Iwo Jima, Japan. A young Nazi war prisoner winces in pain as an American soldier examines his injury while waiting for a medic during World War II. The moment captures the harsh realities faced by soldiers on both sides during the conflict. U.S. Army medics search through the wreckage of Brest in 1944, looking for survivors amid the destruction caused during World War II. Their efforts highlight the dangers and urgency faced on the battlefield during the liberation of occupied territories. Yank medics treat the leg wounds of a wounded soldier from the 5th Division, 3rd Battalion near Metz, France, on September 8, 1944. The soldier's face is obscured by the censor's red pen, reflecting wartime privacy measures during World War II. German submariners rest in cramped quarters among torpedoes aboard a U-boat on March 15, 1944. Life beneath the surface was tight, tense, and often claustrophobic for these wartime sailors. View from the Town Hall Tower overlooking the devastated inner city of Dresden, taken sometime between 1945 and 1950. The allegorical statues of justice and truth still stand in the foreground, silently witnessing the vast destruction caused by the bombing during World War II. A German machine gunner is seen manning his position aboard a military aircraft on February 22, 1939. The image reflects the growing militarization of Nazi Germany in the months leading up to World War II. U.S. World War II veteran Edward W. Oleksak stands in solemn reflection before the sculpture Les Braves on Omaha Beach, June 2, 2014. The monument honors the Allied soldiers who stormed the beach on D-Day, June 6, 1944, among them, Oleksiak himself. French President François Hollande and Defense Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian review troops during a ceremony commemorating the 68th anniversary of Paris's liberation on August 25, 1944. The event honors the end of Nazi occupation and the efforts of Allied and French resistance forces in World War II. Russian President Vladimir Putin lays flowers at memorials near the tomb of the unknown soldier in Moscow on May 8, 2012, during a ceremony honoring World War II veterans and the heroism of Soviet cities. The tribute marks the eve of Victory Day, commemorating the defeat of Nazi Germany. A veteran walks past a memorial to fallen Soviet Red Army soldiers in Liebes, Germany, on May 8, 2015, marking 70 years since the end of World War II in Europe. The official German surrender took effect at 11:01 p.m. on May 8, 1945, bringing an end to the war on the continent. A ceremonial flypast takes place over Buckingham Palace in London to mark the 60th anniversary of the end of World War II. Veterans, royals, and the public gathered to honor the occasion and remember those who served.